I keep stopping. It's gonna take me forever to get where I'm going, but I can't help it. I just can't help it. Just can't help it. Wonder if there's a burn ban here. Alright, I got the engine over here and it's on the stand. I need to get that lifting plate off of there because I'm need it to pull that engine pretty soon. So anyway, I want to unwrap it and study my stuff here. Well, it sure is pretty, ain't it? He said Gen 3 rods, forged pistons, a new reluctor wheel, ARP bolts, at least on the rods. Pretty black finish. That's worth a couple bucks right there. I think that's Chloe's. Anyway, I'm gonna stand here and drool a little bit longer, and then maybe I'll put the lifters in it. This is my first time ever building the LS, or I didn't build it. This guy did the bottom end. It's my first time ever putting together an LS motor. Here's another variable. After I had these heads done, and they're not, they're not, no major work on them. But they're ready to go. The valve springs are set. They cut 20 thousandths off them. They decked the block too, so altogether it'll have about 11.5 to 1 compression. But I got these heads that got like 28,000 miles on them. These are 241s. Those are 317s. These are off a Corvette. Those probably got 300,000 miles on them. The guy said the valve guys, he builds race motors, he says. So he says the valve guys are a little loose for his standards. But he said they'd probably run fine. So my dilemma is, should I clean these up, put them on it? Only the difference I can really tell with a quick inspection is the exhaust ports are about 20 thousandths bigger. I don't know, I'm gonna think on that a little bit. I'm inclined to run these heads. I'm no LS expert, but some research, a little research tells me that in stock configuration there's not a big difference between the cathedral port type heads. I don't know. It's my first one, like I say. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put those on it. This thing has a pretty stout cam. It should be fairly rowdy. And I gotta remember it's going in a 4-door 57 that my wife's gonna drive. So I'm hoping for over 400 horsepower. I ought to do that easy. And we'll just see. If it needs more, after I save my pennies again, maybe I'll buy some aftermarket heads and put on it, which the engine man says would really wake it up. Or if it's too much the way it is, we'll put the stock motor out of that truck out back in it. And then I'll buy the aftermarket heads and put it in something else, huh? Another thing is they don't stamp the oversize on the pistons no more. What's up with that? I just measured it. I think it's 20 or. They're 4-inch bore. if I remember right. A 6 liter, so there's that. More cubic inches, no replacement for displacement. Alright, here's my lifters. They're LS7 lifters from Texas Speed. Anyway, I think I'm going to go ahead and put them in. As soon as I find the bolts that go here, I'd better look for them. Alright, I found the bolts. Got them clean. Cleaned up my trays. Got my lifters out. They're already pre-lubed real nice. The engine man says do not soak them in oil, on account of if you do that, they're full of oil, you can't set the preload correctly when you're installing the rockers. So makes sense to me, and we need to make sure that's right. I talked to a guy a while ago, and he put some Harlan Sharp rockers on his LS motor and it wouldn't run for crap, he said. But then he put the stock ones back on and ran good, and I bet you that's because he didn't check the push rod length. I bet you. Anyway, so it makes sense to me. They're lubed up good. I'm going to go ahead and put them in. Alright, there's 2 lifter trays in and 8 lifters. I got to work on my method a little bit. I've been sticking them in the lifter tray and then sticking them in, but I don't know. You got to wiggle them a little much. I don't know. I guess it works alright. Alright, got the lifters in it. I think I'm going to clean some parts. The heads, I could put the heads on it now, but my heads are kind of bugging me. I want more horsepower. Alright, I'm still thinking on the heads. I still think I'm going to use them truck heads since I got a little bit invested in them. But them are lurking right there. Now if I go to like a LS6 head with a rectangular ports and all that, then I got to get a different intake and a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm already set up for the cathedral port. So it makes good sense to stick with that, at least for now. I don't know. Less miles. Compression ratio will still be okay since these ones were cut 20. It's going to have 11.5 to 1 compression, he says. Anyways, I'm going to work on these trunnion kits. And it says right here, read the entire set of instructions before beginning to work. Well, I didn't do that. I just whipped out my old Weaver motor service press. And turns out I did it pretty much like the instructions said. This is the first time I've ever used this. This thing's pretty nice. Look at that. Huh? You can set it right up so it's easy. Struggling, ain't I? Here we go. Maybe I'll back that off a little more so that quite such a pain. I had a visitor, but that's okay.
Mom wants to know where the awesome is.
Sitting in this chair right here.
That's not quite what she meant with the sprayables, the cleaner.
What's in that cabinet over there?
I probably have to go this way. Are these both awesome in these models?
If it's yellow and says awesome, it's awesome.
Yeah, but one's clear and says awesome, and one's yellow and says awesome.
One set out in the sun.
Oh, okay. Well,
Oh, well, pressed my fingers.
yeah, let's not do that. Let me take this to her again.
Now we're starting to get the gist of it here. Somewhat inconvenient how that does that. It is, yeah. Alright, let's try that again. Here it goes. Got them cute little roller bearings. They're messing with the dirt bikes and the four-wheelers. I guess you've probably seen enough now. There, like most things in life, about the time you figure out how to do it smoothly and efficiently, you're done. I may never have to do that again. Now I gotta clean them up and put them together. But first, I'm hungry now. Also, let me show you the repair on this thing. This thing was broke at one time. That's a weld. Or maybe braze, I ain't sure. Somebody broke her big time and then fixed it. I bought this at an auction, and there was a couple smaller ones. I think it was for working on electric motors or something. I missed the other ones for some reason. I should have got them too, but I like this one. I think I paid like 40 bucks for it or something. But that's the first time I ever used it. Alright, now it's like Memorial Day at like 5 o'clock. I didn't manage to get much done yesterday. I painted the front cover and the valley cover, I guess you call it. But I think I still need to I need to clean up my rocker arms and bolts and these valve covers. And I went over to my cousin's house. Hey, please don't forget to. And picked up, he tore my tractor all apart. It's gonna need sleeves and pistons and the whole 9 yards. And I got the head in the back of my truck. I'm gonna show it to you. So anyway, what I was leading up to is I'm gonna go ahead and clean this stuff up and that cylinder head today, and I think that's about all I'll do. I keep wanting to put these heads on, and then I keep thinking, well, maybe some great revelation will hit me. But probably what I need to do is go ahead and put the heads on, so I'll be done with it. But I'm going to procrastinate a little bit more and clean some parts. All right, there's the head. Got some plugged up water jackets. Looks like them intake valves are awful sunk in. But I seen one on a YouTube video and they look that way on that one too, so I guess it's alright. I may try to do these myself. I have the tools, I just ain't never done it. We'll see. Alright, I took that down, pressure washed it, cleaned it up. Look at them. I think that's a Boss motor, huh? Boss 172 diesel, round ports. And I went ahead and cleaned up my valve covers. So I'm gonna blow the water off them and size them up a little more here. You may wonder, what's she doing down there? Well, what had happened was I was popping the valve spring off and I was unprepared for that style of keeper. And I lost it under there somewhere. Anyway, the guides seem pretty loose on the exhaust side. The valves, I don't know, they got some wear. Let me clean them up a little bit. It's got a part number on there. Valve looks okay. Could be ground. Feels fairly loose though on the guide. I don't know if they've been knurled. I'm gonna look in there and see.